What's up, y'all? My name is Devontae, and I sacrificed my time so you don't have to. So we have a little bit of circulating news that's been spreading for the most part throughout the week. Honestly, you can say weeks if you want to include Vince McMahon. So I'm going to read this article for you real quick, and then afterwards I'll give my opinion in regards to the entire topic and the entire subject. Because absolutely, I've honestly been kind of like going back and forth in my mind about things like this. But it's pretty concrete when you think about it going forward, and it should be pretty fucking obvious. And I shouldn't be thinking about this in my head, debating whether or not this is a moral thing or, an immoral thing. Check it out for a second. Let me read the article for you real quick. Huge step to scrub him from company history amid Janelle Grant lawsuit. WWE is going ahead with taking Brock Lesnar out. I got the link down in the description box below if you want to follow along. Brock Lesnar was not explicitly named in Janelle Grant's lawsuit against WWE, Vince McMahon, and John Laurinaitis. A former UFC heavyweight champion was mentioned, and a WWE contract was under discussion. It was alleged that this wrestler asked Grant for a P video and then wanted to hook up as part of his contract renewal. Now, TKO Group Holdings is taking action. WWE has now decided to erase Brock Lesnar from the company's opening intro video. This is a move that goes to solidify the fact that he is not coming back anytime soon, if ever. The company also has zero creative for Lesnar at the moment. He was previously set to take on Dominic Mysterio at the Elimination Chamber in Australia and Gunther at WrestleMania 40 prior to those earth-shattering allegations dropping from Janelle Grant's lawsuit. TKO stated that they would take action on this matter, and the fact is that Endeavor is a much different company from WWE. They may have found enough to warrant a full distancing from Lesnar, but at this time, we have not heard about any release situation. Brock Lesnar was taken out of WWE 2K24's 40 Years of WrestleMania cover, a move that caused them to shift some people around on the cover. John Cena ended up getting Lesnar's spot and a much more prominent placement. WWE also took Lesnar out of 2K's Supercard game. It remains to be seen how much 2K will be able to take Vince McMahon and Brock Lesnar out of the game. They may be able to totally erase them from the files, and it appears that could be the case. SC Scoops will have continued coverage of the WWE saga with Brock Lesnar. There are some under the belief that he may never be back at this point. Now, that's the end of the article right there. A couple things to say about this. Let's go back in history. Before we even talk about this, and I think you guys know where I'm going with this, let's go back to 2007. What happened in 2007? In particular, June of 2007. I'll let you guys let that marinate in your brain for a little bit. Do 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 do. Your mom sucked my dick. Okay, you got it, right? Okay. Yeah, Benoit, murder, family, yada yada yada. We've been hearing this for years now. Some of you unfortunately weren't even born or way too young to even have seen Benoit in his prime, which in my opinion is a goddamn shame because he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. You can separate the character from the wrestler. You absolutely can. And if you can't do it, I don't know what to say about you. That's you. But I can absolutely separate the character from the man. I can absolutely demonize someone like a Chris Benoit without having to alienate myself from his wrestling. In particular me, because he was one of my favorite wrestlers, if not my favorite wrestler, and what got me into professional wrestler to begin with, along with Chris Jericho. His feud over the Intercontinental Championship with Chris Jericho in the middle portion of 2000 and the early portions of 2001 is what made wrestling a religion for me. Not Triple H, not The Rock, not Austin, not Foley, not Kane, not Undertaker. It was Benoit and Jericho. Those were my guys. And then it further solidified itself when Benoit had his feud with Kurt Angle in 2001 all the way up until the early portions of 2003. There's no way I can just go out of my way to completely distance myself from a Chris Benoit in regards to watching his matches. I can't do that. He is integral in my childhood. So the best thing I can do is just watch the matches, watch the TV shows for what they are, and just take it how it is. If you can't do that, and no one ever talks about this and no one ever says this, I can understand if you're closely associated to the situation. I mean friends, I mean family members, I mean colleagues. Anybody who's closely associated with Chris Benoit, I can absolutely understand why you wouldn't want to bear all that, especially if you were close to Nancy. Completely understand. But for the fans, honestly, I say this to everybody who makes these kind of comments about I can't separate the character from the wrestler, or the character from the human, or I can't watch Chris Benoit matches because he's a fucking killer. Yeah, that's right, he's a killer, and you can absolutely watch his matches. I guarantee you there are some TV shows where there are producers who wrote those shows that you have no clue about, but you enjoy those shows. You enjoy that music. I guarantee you there are some people who work behind the scenes who did some stage handling on your favorite movies who probably did some heinous shit that you're not aware of. I guarantee you there are some voice actors. Hell, I forgot the gentleman's name. Ed, and Eddie is one of my favorite shows of all time. Cartoon doesn't matter. I forgot who it was, but right before the show got canceled, it was a guy. I don't know if he was one of the voice actors or if he was one of the writers or one of the creative people. He was a batshit lunatic who went on a fucking crime spree back in like 2007. Goddamn, 2007 again, right? I can't remember the entire story, but he was very heavily involved in Ed and Eddie. Am I now supposed to not watch Ed and Eddie because he was a part of that? No, that's stupid, and I think you're all virtue signaling in the end of the day. That's what it is. Let's just call a spade for a spade. You're all virtue signaling. And if that's your kind of tip that you want to lie, then by all rights, go ahead and do that. But let's call it for what it is. You're virtue signaling. You're trying to score emotional points in the end of the day. I'll even go out and say that some of these people who say things like this, and maybe not in particular Chris Benoit, but people who make these kinds of remarks, I guarantee you they just say it in front of people. But as soon as no one's looking, they go doing the thing. They go out of their way to disown or disavow or, say it's a bad thing. It's gravely immoral. You shouldn't do this. But they're doing it behind your back after telling you you're an evil person for liking this content or liking this thing. Don't listen to these people in the end of the day. Now, I completely understand where TKO is coming from. I completely understand where Endeavor is coming from in the end of the day. This is all a PR hellhole nightmare, and it's falling right into their laps right when they got the company. I have no problem with what they're doing because they're doing whatever they feel is best suited to cover for their asses and make themselves look good in front of everybody and their sponsors. But that right there, the behavior, that's what I have a problem with. I don't have a problem with them taking the steps that they feel they need to do in order to survive. That part, take that out of the equation. I get it. You're a business in the end of the day. This is what you have to do. The same thing can be said about celebrities who go out of their way to make these groveling, piss poor apologies to people who don't give a fuck about your apology. None of these celebrities, none of these fans, none of these people, some of them probably look for you to make a mistake in order to capitalize on whatever you just did to make you look bad because you probably have an image that they hate. These are these deranged people. That's what I'm talking about in regards to social media and the internet. Not in particular. Take off the internet. Social media in particular, because everybody has a platform and they feel that platform is justified to do good in the world. And whatever is good in the world is within their own vision, within their own echo chamber. And we have a bunch of mentally ill people who have a platform, who feel that their victimhood is some type of game. Like it's a hierarchy. It's weird, right? Like they're trying to outdo each other as far as who's the biggest victim. And a part of that comes at your behest, making an example out of you. He victimized somebody. Let me make an example out of him to score brownie points for myself. That's when that virtue signaling comes into play. And that's when this bad faith behavior starts to creep. It starts to rear its ugly head in the end of the day. And people fall suit to this shit all the time. Again, I never blame the person necessarily. It depends how big you are. It depends what you have at stake. But I never necessarily go out of my way sometimes to blame the person, because I know what they're going through as far as their mindset is considered. Fuck, I can lose everything if I don't kowtow to these motherfuckers who 2 seconds ago wasn't thinking about this, and now all of a sudden they're thinking about it. And as soon as they walk away from their cell phones, they're not going to think about it anymore. They're going to go on their TikTok videos and look up some adorable cat videos, because that's how the internet works in the end of the day. There's no need to go out of your way to distance your history from Brock Lesnar and Vince McMahon. Two things can happen at once, and you can absolutely do both things. You absolutely do not have to celebrate a Vince McMahon and a Brock Lesnar. Now, mind you, you probably should wait, just saying, you probably should wait till all these court proceedings have concluded before you go out of your way to do something like this. Probably that's the best case scenario. That's just my opinion in the end of the day. But, put that to the side. Even if a verdict came that Vince was guilty of everything that happened, like a Chris Benoit, and I'm going to bring him into the equation too, you don't have to distance yourself from these guys in the sense that you have to erase them from history. You guys ever heard of the Streisand effect? And I'm pretty sure it's pretty much been a meme nowadays, because I heard a couple people bring it up over the past few months. I've been hearing it more in the past few months than I have in maybe 20-year history since I first heard about it back in like 2004, 2003. The Streisand effect essentially it means something along the lines of, like, you don't want someone to know something about something and you go out of your way to hide it. And the more you go out of your way to hide it, the more attention you bring to it, because people are now curious as to why you're going out of your way so badly to hide the scenario, to hide the situation. That's the Streisand effect. You're not doing a good job going out of your way erasing everybody from history, because people, in the end of the day, we have the internet. People talk amongst each other. There are social media threads all over the place. There are comment threads all over the place. You are never going to stop people from not talking about a subject. Again, you can distance yourself in the sense that you do not have to actively bring them up, in the sense that, like, hey, whenever you talk about a situation, you have to talk about Brock Lesnar and Vince McMahon in a glowing light. You don't have to do that. Again, I still say you should wait till the court proceedings is out of the way, but again, pretending that this is all a conclusion. You don't have to do that. No one is saying you have to put out some Brock Lesnar or Vince McMahon product in the end of the day. And mind you, maybe Vince may be a little bit more serious in regards to the conclusion if it happens to be that he's guilty. But with Brock Lesnar, I still don't see what the fuck is the big deal. He asked for some P videos. So fucking what? But putting that to the side for a second also, even if they did something incredibly heinous, like a Chris Benoit for an example, you don't have to erase them from history, because they'll forever. Vince McMahon created WWE, for fuck's sakes. How will you ever not mention Vince McMahon? That's impossible. That's an impossible task that people who do not care about the situation are asking for you to do. You get what I'm saying? Like, you have people who do not care about the situation who are asking you to partake in an impossible situation in order to score brownie points for themselves, to go talk to their friends about what they feel like they made you do within the group think. Like they actually believe that they were the cause of change for you to distance yourself from something that's incredibly impossible in regards to remarking on history with the former owner of the company of the better part of nearly 50 fucking years. All for what? I just want to ask, all for what? I completely understand the consequences, but it's not the consequences that I'm having a problem with. It's why the consequences even exist to begin with that I'm having a problem with. TKO bought WWE. They were not a part of this situation. Endeavor wasn't a part of any of this in the end of the day. They bought WWE. Us and the fans, we weren't a part of this situation who actively would like to see Vince McMahon mentioned from time or two in regards to talking about the history of WWE. You do not have to pull Brock Lesnar from video games. What the fuck is a 3D model in a video game going to do for you? If a 3D model in a video game hurts your feelings when you're not even related to the situation at all, you have absolutely no connection with the situation at all. Oh, well, it brings up some type of trauma. I highly suggest you go to a psychiatrist, not just for the so-called trauma, but for multiple reasons. If you feel this right here is going to offend you, a 3D model in a video game, seeing some figurine on some fucking card, a digital card, seeing Vince McMahon all over the product probably before you were even born, that's what's going to cause you traumatic stress? Not related to the situation because it rears up some ugly fucking memories? That has nothing to do with me. I do not care for your traumatic experience that you want to play up as if it's actually real. Like I said, in the end of the day, go see a psychiatrist. Go get some help. Because if this right here is triggering you, there are some really, really warped things going in your mind that goes well below the surface as far as what should be touched on outside of what the fuck is triggering you at the moment. You're losing it. You're a nutcase. You need help. You need like some extreme professional help. And I just want to remind you guys, this is what's being kowtowed to in the end of the day. You're getting nowhere erasing anyone from you're not gonna what I gotta understand one more time. I understand the reward is not pissing off the sponsors. But from the sponsor standpoint, who are they pissing off? The fans? Okay, fans, why are you pissed off about the situation in regards to Brock Lesnar being in a video game and talking about Vince McMahon? What? Fucking being in an episode that was 30 years ago? These are things that I just don't understand in regards to this generation. You know what? Again, I do understand. I'm playing dumb. This is all rhetorical in the end of the day. I absolutely understand. I get it. Like I said earlier, this is all a game. These people don't really feel this way. These people do not care about the situation. This is all a game. And I don't want to play. You guys want to play? By all rights. Plug your controller in. Me, on the other hand, though, I don't want to play. I really, really hate this game. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you see where I'm coming from? Again, people are going to probably be like, oh, Devontae, you're being edgy. I don't understand what is so edgy by alluding to the fact that you are not a part of the situation that's currently going on at the moment. So why are you upset to a point where a video game character can't exist? Do you see how fucking crazy? Am I the one that's really warped? I can't be the one that's super warped. I can't be the one who's fucked up in the head asking this question, right? Am I really someone in the comment section? Please tell me, explain to me why I'm the fucked up one in the head who says you're not related to this subject. So Vince McMahon is allowed to take place in a video that already exists. And you erasing history because you're triggered by a situation that never involved you to begin with. Which, by the way, you can also avoid the video. You can avoid the video game. You can avoid the Brock Lesnar character if this all bothers you so much. Because in the end of the day, that's my biggest problem. My biggest problem isn't just the erasing. My biggest problem isn't just trying to take people out of the course of history because it's triggering you. My biggest problem in the end of the day Is this tyrant-like mindset of believing you can make my decisions for me because of how you feel. That's where it comes down to. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. And here's the thing. Unlike Vince McMahon and his wrestlers, you're not the fucking boss of me. As always, my name is Devontae, and I'll be catching you guys later. Deuces, P. Ice.